Recorded in the U.S. It was in Louisiana after being exposed to sick and dead birds. Well, two astronauts stuck in space since this summer will have to wait even longer to get home. Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore arrived at the space station in June. They were originally due to return to Earth in 1 week. Their initial stay has been extended to February 2025 because of technical issues with the experimental spacecraft Starliner. Now, following a delay in launching the new capsule to the ISS, the pair won't be back until late March or possibly even April. NASA said the delay posed no risk to the astronauts. Well, let's bring in Leroy Chow now for more. He's a former NASA astronaut. Leroy, walk us through, how do you think Butch and Suni are going to be handling yet another delay in their return to Earth?
Well, it is another delay, but this one's a relatively small one, and it's not that unusual. There's a pretty complicated traffic model of vehicles arriving at the station, vehicles departing, which ports are going to be open, which ports do we need to relocate a vehicle from to open that up for another one. And so just a small ripple or a small hiccup can ripple through the entire schedule. So it's really not that unusual. They've been up there this long. They would have been up 8 months. Now it's going to be closer to, I believe, maybe closer to 9. But, it's not that much more. And they seem in good spirits. They're doing productive work. And at the end of the day, astronauts do like to be in space. So even though they're delayed a little bit, I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, just as you said, good spirits. We're seeing this video of them arriving, I believe, on the ISS, kind of celebrating their arrival there. But you say that that delays are common, but how common is a delay of this length? You said 9 months and really in counting here.
Right. What I meant was a delay from February to March is really not that unusual, just a few weeks. But yes, of course, expecting to fly a 7 to 10 day flight test and then ending up spending 8 or possibly 9 months aboard the station, that's quite a long delay. But you know what? We are trained to, and we have that mindset of a can-do attitude, of a adjust to the situation. And so even though this was not anticipated and certainly disrupted their personal lives and the personal lives of people around them, but, they adjusted and they're doing great. And, we're all professionals, and that's what we do.
Leroy, you're a former astronaut. Are there any mental or physical health considerations here, being up in space for that long?
Well, there are a number of physical challenges, medical challenges of being in zero G, particularly during long duration flight. After 6 months, I can tell you when I came back down from the station, it took me a little bit longer to recover than a 2-week shuttle mission. But you know what? Our protocols are pretty good. We've got exercise protocols that helps take care of a lot of the negative effects that would happen to you. The one part we can't do too much about is the radiation environment. It's much harsher when you're up there without the atmosphere to help attenuate the radiation coming from both our sun and from galactic cosmic rays. But the space station is still under the magnetosphere, the Van Allen radiation belts that capture a lot of that radiation. So they're still pretty good shape. It's just going to be higher than if they were here on the Earth.
You alluded to this. There's a personal side here, too. We saw footage of Suni and Butch having their Thanksgiving meal up in space with these floating packets of food. They'll now be spending Christmas and New Year's away from their family, too. I mean, how difficult can that be?
Sure. And, when I flew my long duration flight, it was from October to April. So we spent, those holidays away too. It's something that is just part of the job, and it's okay. You miss birthdays maybe with your family. You miss, the holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, things like that. But it's just okay. This is just part of the job, and it's pretty thrilling to be up in space. So it's worth it.
Before I let you go, about a minute left here on the program, but I saw a headline that China just set the record for the longest spacewalk in history. So how does this latest delay, all the drama with Boeing's Starliner, what does this say about that space race and whether or not the U.S. is kind of failing to keep up with China?
Well, China has made great strides. They're operating their own space station. They've had astronauts on board permanently for, quite a while now. I want to say at least a year, maybe a little bit longer. As far as this record of the longest spacewalk, that's not necessarily a record to be proud of. Usually spacewalks are planned between 5 and 6.5 hours. And if you go beyond that, that means it's because something didn't go right, right? And you're limited by either the oxygen that you have left or the battery power that you have left. And so the American spacesuit, the Russian spacesuit, and I imagine the Chinese spacesuit, which is based heavily on the Russian one, they can last close to 9 hours, and so they were pushing the limit on this. I'm not sure what it was that they didn't get done or were having difficulty with, but it's not necessarily a record that you want to hold.
Yeah, maybe an unwanted record there. Leroy Chiao, former NASA astronaut. Always great to have you on the program. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Well, that's all for now, but a reminder